Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. In a matter of months, the two worst scandals to ever engulf a presidential administration are unfolding right before our eyes. And the media, of course, is doing its best to hide them all from you. I'm talking about Afghanistan and the botched exit there, and of course, the U.S.-enabled weaponization of the Wuhan virus. Both have cost far too many American lives, lives that could have been saved. But the self-interest of deep state Democrats like Dr. Anthony Fauci, as well as Joe Biden's puppet masters, are suppressing these scandals using every tool available to them, including misdirection and omission. Both amount to lies, by the way. So we here on Stinchfield have been telling you for weeks that Joe Biden's State Department has been actively blocking private charter evacuation flights from rescuing Americans and Afghan allies still stranded across Afghanistan. My sources at Mazar al-Sharif Airport, 4 hours north of Kabul, informed me that Americans on those 6 planes over the weekend were forced to go into hiding after not being allowed to take off. Now, a newly leaked email confirms even what I believe could be more blood on the State Department's hands. Here's the email the State Department sent September 1st to Eric Montalvo, a veteran organizing private evacuation flights. It came from the State Department official, and it explicitly stated that no charters, even those containing American citizens, are allowed to land at a Department of Defense base in most, if not all, countries in the Middle Eastern region. It goes on to say, you need to find another destination country, and it can't be the U.S. either. That in and of itself is absolutely outrageous. You've got American citizens stranded there, and they're sending emails. Don't let these planes take off. Don't let them land, and you can't come to the United States. So that's Joe Biden's minions. They got busted here. Secretary of State Antony Blinken quickly pivoted from his victory lap over remember what he used to say, the extraordinary success of this evacuation that got 13 of our servicemen killed. It's not our fault, he says. It's the Taliban's fault, he cries.
As of now, the Taliban are not permitting the charter flights to depart. While there are limits to what we can do without personnel on the ground, without an airport, with normal security and procedures in place, we are working to do everything in our power to support those flights.
Well, that's not true. See, this is the same Taliban the Biden administration has been so adamant about trusting with the lives of American citizens, and he stands up there and lies to us. No, Anthony Blinken, you're not doing everything in your power to get stranded Americans and Afghan allies home. Because thanks to a tip from American Agenda's Heather Childers, the Special Immigrant Visa Support Center hotline gives people this message when they call for help. Listen.
You have reached a Department of State number formerly used to provide general information on the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa, or SIV program. This number is not currently operational. Please visit af.usembassy.gov.
You got American citizens, and for that line, Afghan allies who risked their lives to save the lives of American service members. They give them a voicemail? A voicemail and a website. It directs callers to the U.S. Afghan Embassy website, which isn't even up and running anymore, at least the embassy isn't. That, of course, is unbelievable. Also, this false narrative of Biden's, quote, historic Afghan withdrawal totally disintegrates. You will not hear a peep from a cable news channel about any of it. That in and of itself is really bad. Just like you won't hear a peep about the damning behavior of Biden's beloved Anthony Fauci, which brings us to the other huge scandal here. We now know Dr. Fauci repeatedly lied to senators about the role the United States played in funding the Wuhan lab and the weaponization of the virus, because we now know the National Institutes of Health funneled taxpayer money to the Wuhan lab. That 900-plus pages of documents uncovered by The Intercept shows that one of the grants being funded with that money included one that sent $599,000 to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, used in part to identify and alter bat coronaviruses likely to infect humans. That's a direct quote, as you see on your screen. All the while, Dr. Fauci denied it, remember? Even under oath in those Senate chambers. And as this bombshell report emerged yesterday, what do you think happened? The mainstream media virtually ignores it as well. CBS and NBC both failed to even mention the report on its nightly news programs. ABC ignored it too, but ABC went a step further, deciding not just to lie by omission and ignoring that report, it actually went a step further and started running propaganda campaigns pushing the devious doctor as some kind of pro-vax, mask-up martyr.
Dr. Anthony Fauci tonight on the crowds this Labor Day weekend saying, I don't think it's smart. And what he's now saying about booster shots, that third shot.
Booster shots? He lied to Congress. That's the story. CNN, too, here, by the way, chose to ignore the emerging evidence that Dr. Fauci's National Institutes of Health helped fund the worst, most deadly pandemic in modern times. To think the news media is ignoring the blockbuster scandal that the United States and China worked together on creating the China virus is absolutely jaw-dropping. But apparently it's all ho-hum to the fake news media that will protect Democrats at all costs. So Dr. Fauci lied about helping create COVID-19. For that, he should be forced to resign.
Gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it. That is not... You can't get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
You are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Well, as I said before, no, it's you, Dr. Fauci. Sorry, pal. You're the one who's stone cold busted. Now, I told you to believe Rand Paul then, and yet, with the walls crumbling in around Fauci and his deep state operatives, the story in the mainstream media is ignored. Lying alone to Congress is a crime, and a serious one. Playing a role in unleashing a deadly virus on the world, on all of humanity, is clearly a crime as well. Yet as long as the mainstream media's despicable coverage is tolerated, most Americans will remain uninformed to what's happening around them, and the role career bureaucrats play in destroying the nation we love, and really getting Americans killed too.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.